Coronavirus might be the biggest news at the moment, but another disease in society is not far behind. The scourge of sexual misconduct against women. And as disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein has discovered, being powerful, rich or famous is not a get-out-of-jail-free card. Before the Me Too movement, though, Chanel Miller was fighting her own incredible battle. She was sexually assaulted at a party by a champion athlete who was barely punished for his crime. Chanel, of course, was devastated, but with a strength she didn't know she had, vowed to fight back. In taking on her attacker, though, she also had to take on a broken system, which, far from supporting her, had tried to make her disappear. Chanel Miller didn't set out to change the world. All she wanted was to go to a party with friends. Through no fault of her own, though, what started as a night of fun turned into years of darkness.
There are people telling me that you can just live indoors your whole life and experience outside from inside the windows.
Her identity was taken, her life devastated. But as you'll see, how Chanel survived, how she found the strength to escape her trauma, is not only inspirational, it's transformed the lives of countless women around the globe.
So how does it feel to be out and about in front of people now?
Feels wonderful to not be hiding, to not have to conceal everything, to have the sun on my skin, to walk confidently and be assertive with what I'm saying.
For 4 long years, Chanel Miller wasn't allowed to be herself. Instead, she was Emily Doe, the faceless victim of the evil of this man, 19-year-old Brock Turner.
Brock Turner for sexually assaulting a 22-year-old woman while she lay unconscious next to a dumpster.
The university student and champion swimmer sexually abused and then discarded her behind a dumpster. But in fighting for her attacker to be punished, Chanel also had to beat a broken system.
My first instinct was to deny everything, and I learned that that is not possible, that eventually you have to confront it. Eventually you'll have to testify. And not talking about it, I became extremely withdrawn. I stopped speaking to people. I would go to work, and then I would go home, and I would cry, and I would wake up, and I'd cry, and go to work, and I couldn't continue that pattern of living.
It was January 2015. It should have been an unremarkable night. Chanel, then 22, was living at home and decided to join her younger sister at a party at the prestigious Stanford University, a place she felt safe.
She was going to a fraternity party. I thought, what the heck, I'll make the sacrifice.
Like any college party, there was alcohol, there was dancing. The worst thing to happen should have been a hangover.
It was down in this basement. There's music playing. There's really stinky, cheap alcohol, pretty bad music, but didn't stop me from dancing. I got up on a chair. I was doing my thing. So we were having a really wonderful time, actually.
What happened?
So my last memory was being on the patio with my sister and her friends. I wake up. I am in a gurney in a hallway. There's a dean of students and a deputy who tell me that I have been sexually assaulted. I'm completely sure that they have the wrong person. I have no recollection of even interacting with anyone at this party. I asked if I could use the restroom, and when I did, I discovered that my underwear was missing. I also noticed I had blood on the backs of my hands. So I knew something was wrong at that point, but I was not prepared to accept a new reality where my life would never be the same, where I would be on a completely new trajectory, and where everything I had been building was suddenly taken from me. So that was the beginning of an extremely excruciating and long journey that I did not know at the time.
As if the indignity of the night wasn't enough, 10 days passed without any news. Not a word from the hospital or police. Imagine Chanel's horror when she read about herself and what she'd suffered on the internet.
I found out at work in the daytime. I was scrolling through articles about how one of my breasts was exposed, how my vagina and butt were exposed. And the worst part was not even the learning of it, but that I had to learn at the same time that there was a comment section. Instead of someone looking me in the eye and saying, this shouldn't have happened to you, you deserve safety and privacy and comfort, I was given the exact opposite message, which was that I was deserving, that I was reckless, that I was not intelligent, that I didn't deserve to be cared for.
Brock Turner was a privileged jock who thought he could get away with anything. A wannabe Olympian with expensive lawyers and private investigators at his disposal. Chanel, on the other hand, was anonymous, known as Emily Doe. And with no memory of the assault, Turner's legal team got to write the script of a star athlete with everything to lose.
I saw his face online, and what was stunning was that it's someone I did not recognize, I did not know. I learned that he, after being arrested, was not even able to describe what I looked like and didn't know my name. And I thought, if you couldn't even pick me out of a lineup, then you have no right to be inside of me.
Chanel was unconscious at the time of the attack and therefore powerless to stop Brock Turner. She was also unaware that two Swedish students were riding past, interrupting, chasing down and pinning Turner until police arrived. While she's enormously grateful for what they did, she's also tormented by the thought of what might have happened to her if they didn't come along.
They got off their bikes and said, "What are you doing?" Brock took off running. They knelt to check that I was breathing and then took off running after Brock. And they pinned him down, all four of his limbs, until the police came.
I feel like you saw the worst of men that night and also the best.
Yeah, that's why even in the hardest moments, I thought you're not allowed to just throw the world away or say everything is terrible. And as long as I remember the second half, the way that I was saved, that's what's gonna get me forward.
The trial of Brock Turner made headlines around the world.
Growing controversy.
Details about that Stanford swimmer behind bars this morning for sexual assault.
That Stanford University swimmer, Brock Turner.
The media captivated by the fall of an Olympic hopeful from one of America's most elite universities.
This case was the perfect storm. You had all the elements that intrigue people. You had an Olympic hopeful, star swimmer, who, but for his horrific crime, would have been in Rio Olympics that summer.
2 days after Brock Turner was arrested, Deputy District Attorney for Santa Clara, Allison Langdon, was handed the case and decided to prosecute.
It was really surprising how much attention was on this small courtroom in Palo Alto. I mean, people across the country and across the globe were watching what happened.
Why do you think that was?
They want to see him be held accountable. They want justice for the victim.
How did you feel when you saw him in the flesh?
Something locked down in me, and I realized, wow, this is a real person. I think it's terrifying to just have to be forced to be in such close proximity with a person who hurt you. You feel like people want you to fail. And that's a really difficult thing to push up against when you're in such a vulnerable state.
How did you get through those times?
My sister had been at the party that night, so she was called in as a witness to testify multiple times. She thought she wasn't getting her answers correct, that somehow she was hurting me or would be responsible for us losing the case. And I looked at her, who's completely undeserving, who's this wonderful person. And I thought, oh, the defense attorney is making it his job for us to eat away at ourselves internally. And that was the turning point where I thought, all right, this is it. I'm going to fight for myself. I understand now what they're doing, and I will do everything it takes to get us back to where we're seen.
You drew a line.
I drew a line. I saw her and I drew the line.
Coming up, no doubt.
If someone strips you, penetrates you, and sprints away, they're guilty.
But no good news.
I was being told this is not a big deal.
How Chanel fixed a broken system
People were outraged. It ignited a movement.
and reclaimed her life. What's your name?
Chanel Miller.
Say that name again.
Chanel Miller.
That's next on 60 Minutes. A year and a half after Chanel Miller was sexually assaulted at a frat party at Stanford University, a jury of 12 strangers finally had a verdict. It was unanimous. Brock Turner was guilty of 3 counts of sexual assault. He faced a maximum sentence of 14 years in prison for his crimes.
I knew that he was guilty. If someone strips you, penetrates you, and sprints away, they're guilty. And over the course of a year and a half, I'd learned to doubt that clarity, to doubt myself.
Chanel would have to face Brock Turner one last time before he was sentenced. She asked the judge if she could read her victim impact statement directly to Turner. Chanel bravely delivered her victim impact statement inside this courtroom, face to face with Brock Turner. It was a powerful message that resonated all around the world. In it, she said, quote, "You took away my worth, my privacy, my energy, my time, my safety, my intimacy, my confidence, my own voice, until now." Turner was only sentenced to 6 months in prison for his crime. He was a free man within 3. You've got a guilty verdict, which is great, and then the sentence, 6 months? Come on.
I felt like I had just poured my guts all over the floor, and that I was being told, like, what is that? This is not a big deal.
What would you say to him? It's okay.
You know, I think most people, when a victim comes forward, they frame it as some like revenge narrative. Like, I'm coming after you. When really all she wants is him to promise that he will not do this to somebody else. To say, I promise I will never inflict pain on someone the way that I did to you. And only then can she sleep peacefully. I think that's all we want, is to be acknowledged. And it shouldn't be that much to ask for, but it's something that society still continues to grapple with.
Chanel wouldn't get that acknowledgement from Brock Turner. but her words did spark an immediate response online. One day after Brock's sentence, Chanel's victim impact statement was published on the news website BuzzFeed. It went viral. Millions of people read it. The entire statement was read aloud in America's Congress.
You don't know me, but you have been inside me, and that's why we're here today.
The world didn't yet know her name, but her powerful description of trauma was a turning point. It became a catch cry for women around the world who felt they had been failed by the justice system.
The statement was getting more and more views online. They were teaching me what I had done and who I was to them, and that meant everything. They saved me.
The public outcry still soaring tonight over a 6-month sentence.
What we didn't know at the moment was that the defeat of the light sentence was actually the most positive thing, because in that, it ignited a movement. People were upset. People were outraged.
Do you have anything you'd like to say to the victim?
Chanel didn't find justice in the courtroom, but with the help of her attorney, Alalay Kianursi, her brave decision to speak out has since changed the law in California for victims of sexual assault, with the introduction of mandatory minimum sentences.
So laws changed in that any person who commits a sexual assault, regardless of whether it's rape or digital penetration, on an intoxicated or unconscious person, they will serve a mandatory minimum of 3 years. Just like if you commit a sexual assault on a conscious person. So we're hoping that this law puts, a little fear. A lot of women have to walk to their cars at night at fear. They have a lot of fear going out to bars. It's about time that men have some fear when they engage in these activities with women who are not able to defend themselves.
I mean, all of these letters here from all over the world, and people have taken the time to sit down and write old-fashioned letters to you.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, that's so unbelievable, but they flooded in by the hundreds.
Did they?
Yes, I had bags, carrying them like this.
What sort of things did they say?
So this woman said, sometimes life effing sucks. And sometimes it's really, really wonderful. Keep an eye out for the wonderful parts. I promise they're coming. But I like that. She said, don't rewire yourself around the ways you've been hurt. Continue to be able to see the good because it's there and more is coming. Yeah.
And she was right.
She was so right. Oh, little prophet.
It has taken some time and a whole lot of encouragement from people around the world, but Chanel Miller is beginning to feel comfortable in her own skin.
Do you feel changed?
Yeah, I feel really changed. I think before it was easier to step on me. Now I don't waste any time. If someone is disrespecting me or somebody I love, I feel confident to speak up.
In the butterfly world, they call it a metamorphosis. I know. I know, I've been working on it for some time. Do you feel like a butterfly? That's the worst. That is the worst one ever.
I cannot process that with a straight face.
Do you feel
In the butterfly
like...
world, they call it metamorphosis. Do you feel like a butterfly?
Yeah.
It's not a story Chanel ever wanted to be part of, but it is a story she is now bravely owning. In September last year, she revealed her identity to the world, releasing a memoir titled Know My Name. And finally, to girls everywhere, I am with you. On nights when you feel alone, I am with you. When people doubt you or dismiss you, I am with you. I fought every day for you, so never stop fighting. I believe you.
What was it like to get your name back?
Oh, so good. Thank goodness. I mean, I love my name. It's a pretty name. And It feels really wonderful to be able to sit face to face with people.
What's your name?
Chanel Miller.
Say that name again.
Chanel Miller.
You have a beautiful smile.
Thank you.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole frickin' point. Yeah, it's my life. Like, I should get to live it.
Hello, I'm Sarah Abo. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.